Welcome to Spiritual Minefield. Today we're going to continue the series of Matthew 24, the end times. And we're going to start today in Matthew 24, verses 15 to 22. Stay tuned. Okay, so in verse 15, it's going to be connected to Daniel 9:27, and we're going to see that. So let's go to verse 15. So when you see standing in the holy place, the abomination of desolation described by the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. So the holy place here is in reference to a temple that is not yet built, which is called the third temple. And there, the Antichrist is going to set up his image in the third temple, and that's going to occur in the middle of the Great Tribulation. And then that's when all hell will break loose. He's going to force everybody to receive the mark of the beast. And if you don't, he will kill you or throw you in prison. So let's go now to Daniel 9:27. And it says here, and he will confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. And here 1 week is in reference to 7 years, which is the Great Tribulation. But in the middle of the week, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering. And on the wing of the temple will come the abomination that causes desolation until the decreed destruction is poured out upon him. So he's going to stop the Jews from sacrificing, and he's going to put his image in the third temple, and then the Jews are going to understand they're in serious trouble. This Antichrist, who they thought was their Messiah, is going to betray them. And we're going to see why he does that. Okay, so now let's go. So here in verses 16 to 21, we're going to go to Daniel 12:1 and also Revelation 12, and we're going to see the connection. So let's go and read verses 16 to 21. Then, now this happens the moment they see the Antichrist image in the third temple. Look what the Lord is telling them to do, or look what they have to do. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let no one on the housetop come down to retrieve anything from his house. And let no one in the field return for his cloak. It's going to be so serious that the Lord is saying, forget about all your material things. Run for your lives. How miserable those days will be for pregnant and nursing mothers. Pray that your flight will not occur in the winter or on the Sabbath. For at that time there will be great tribulation unmatched from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be seen again. It's going to be so bad, because not only do you have the Antichrist going after the Christians and the Jews, but you're going to have God's wrath being poured out upon the planet. So it's going to be horrific. So we're going to see, verses 16 to 21, we're going to go to Daniel 12:1 and Revelation 12. So let's go there. So Daniel 12:1 says, at that time, Michael, the great prince who stands watch over your people, will rise up. There will be a time of distress. Now look at this. The likes of which would not have occurred from the beginning of nations until that time. But at that time, your people, everyone whose name is found written in the book, will be delivered. So the Jews that run to the wilderness, or what we just read in Matthew 24, verses 16 to 21, those who run for safety, God will protect for a time, times, and half a time, meaning the last part of the Great Tribulation, which is 3.5 years. Those are the ones who are destined for salvation. If they're not saved at the moment, they will be saved later. But those who are destined for salvation, those Jews there. Okay, now let's go to Revelation 12. And we're going to read verse 6. And this continues that theme about running to the mountains. And it says here, and the woman fled into the wilderness. So here, woman is in reference to Israel, to the one that Jesus is mentioning in Matthew 24, and the one which we read in Daniel chapter 12. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where God had prepared a place for her to be nourished for 1,260 days. That is 3.5 years. So we see here that God already has a place prepared for the Jewish people who are going to run away from the Antichrist. He's going to provide for them. And those are the ones who are going to believe in Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Okay, so now let's look at the last verse here, verse 22. So let's look at that verse. And it says, if those days had not been cut short, nobody will be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. Okay, if those days had not been cut short, nobody will be saved. That's not saying that the Great Tribulation is no longer going to be 7 years. It's still going to be 7 years. But what that's trying to say is that Jesus is not going to bring his wrath or his bombardments for the whole 7 years. He's going to wait until the Antichrist goes to the temple, claims to be God, and then the Lord will start to bring judgment upon the world. Because if the Lord brings judgment in the beginning of the 7 years, when the Antichrist makes a false treaty with the Jewish people and the surrounding nation, nobody will survive. He will wipe out humanity. And we're going to see a glimpse how bad it's going to be in the Great Tribulation. And for that, we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 13. So let's go there. And we're going to start here in verse 9. Now look what it says here. It says, behold, the day of the Lord is coming. And the phrase here, the day of the Lord, is in reference to the Great Tribulation. Behold, the day of the Lord is coming, cruel with fury and burning anger, to make the earth a desolation, and to destroy the sinners within it. So a desolation means a wasteland. It's going to hardly be any people left. That's how bad it's going to be. Verse 10, for the stars of heaven and their constellation will not give their lights. The rising sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. I will punish the world for its evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. I will end the haughtiness of the arrogant, and lay low the pride of the ruthless. I will make man, look at this, scarcer than pure gold, and mankind rarer than the gold of Ophir. When the Lord finishes bringing his wrath upon the world, compared to the population we have now, is going to be completely few men in number. So basically, almost half of the population will be completely destroyed. So we have now, 8-9 billion people, half of that will be gone, or probably even a little bit more. So we see how bad it's going to be. So then imagine if half of the population will completely be wiped out. Imagine if the Lord brings his wrath, his bombardments for the full 7 years. It will completely annihilate mankind from the planet. So because of the believers, he says, because of the elect, because he loves us so much, that those who are going through the Great Tribulation, those who get saved and are going through it, because of them, he's not going to bring his wrath or bombardments or seals, trumpets, and bowls in the beginning of the Great Tribulation. He's going to wait for the second half of the 7 years, and then he's going to judge the sinners within it for rejecting him as Lord and Savior. So this will conclude part 2, and next week we're going to do part 3. Thank you for listening.